Welcome back to another video, you guys. Today I'm going to be showing you a video of how I made the artwork that I have on my walls. It's made from the watch glass. When people mail in a watch that I remove from the display, I keep those pieces of glass, and what I've done is I've embedded them. You can see down there in my desk, up along there, over there. I'm just going to go show you the process of how we do that. The first thing we'll need to do is go to the hardware store, so let's get started. The first thing that I need to do is select the paint that I'm going to have. I like this color of green. Let's find another color that kind of goes with the store. This one looks really good right here. Next we'll need to get the epoxy that we're going to use to cover up the glass pieces. This box looks a little damaged, so let me just grab a better box. There we go, that one looks more new. It's a 2-in-1 mix. Should provide me with plenty. Now we'll need something to mix it in. Grab a couple of these. And then I'll want something to glue the glass pieces down as well. So let's just grab some of this clear Gorilla Glue. And we're going to be using this board. It's only 15 bucks, so it should work. So I'm going to draw out my pattern, then cut it out. And here's what I'm left with. Kind of wanted to have a dynamic feel. We're going to put those pieces of glass on there. You can see from my other videos where I've done the Apple Watches. I've got plenty to use. Let's see how much we'll need to do one side of the room. Plan on using about half on each side. I'm going to lay it out on the front, in my front room area, just to make sure it fits. It's going to it's going to start at the top of the map there where I pin all the watch repairs I've done. You can kind of see here how I've done the watches before. We'll go ahead and spray it. I'm going to go outside because it's more ventilated. We'll spray it first with the lighter green. And then we'll take the deeper green, more fluorescent green, and let's go over the edge as well. And I'll repeat this on all the pieces. Try to give it a uniform, fun feel, because the walls that these will be going on are white, and it'll look really good to have that dynamic feel to it. And here we are, all sprayed, ready for us to start gluing on the pieces of glass of watch right here. You can see I'm going to take a little bit of the glue, put it on the back, stick it down on the board, just kind of let it set up naturally. And we'll just continue this across the entire surface of all of these boards. And I've kind of laid them out here just to kind of get it even spacing, make sure I have plenty to space out and enough to do the other side of the room. As you can see here, still have about half of what I had before or so. Alright, now we've kind of spaced them all out. Make sure we've got that good. And I've glued them all down. You can kind of see the little spots of glue under each one of them. And I've left the tape on there just to kind of hold all the glass shards together. And now I've removed the tape from almost every one of them. There's a couple that I haven't done yet, but will. I found this actually very tricky to do without pulling up the paint, because the tape wanted to pull at the paint. So next time I'm going to trim the tape so it doesn't touch the paint. And then I'll go to the front just to make sure it's going to look okay all in one piece. And these are the lights that I'm going to be using as well to go around the border. Make sure I have enough length on those lights. I think it's going to look really good. Go right off there, right off the top of the map, and shoot over across under the ducting there. It'll look really good, and it'll allow for space for my displays once I get those up on the wall for the cases and screen protectors and stuff like that. I've kind of pieced that piece back together a little bit, and we're going to move on to epoxying it up. So here I get my part 1 and part 2 of the epoxy, and let's see if we can get away with mixing about 64 ounces of this. So we'll do 32 ounces of part 1. As close as we can get. And then we'll do part 2 and go all the way up to the 64 ounce as well. Right about there. Next we'll get our little mixer here with our drill. And we'll mix up the epoxy. And we'll do this for several minutes, trying to get it to go from this kind of opaque to more of a clear liquid. And we're going to be creating quite a bit of bubbles by stirring it up. And you could take the time to put this in some type of pressure pot or something to extract the bubbles, but it's not necessary because of the method that I have to get those out once I'm done. So after mixing this for 5 or so minutes, what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and try not to make a mess of things here. But we're going to be pouring this mixture into the other container there just to make sure we don't have any extra pieces that weren't mixed, any of the part 1 or part 2 that got stuck to the sides. I want this epoxy to cure evenly and to not be tacky once it's all set up and everything. So we'll pour out as much as we can. By doing this in a separate container, it ensures that we get it all mixed as thoroughly as possible. We'll go ahead and mix this again for a few minutes, and then it'll be ready to pour. Alright, now that we've mixed it for a few minutes, I'm just going to lift it up and gently and generously pour it over our little pieces of glass there. I'm going to try to get it centered as much as possible. It's a little hard to pour and film at the same time. And I want to make sure we have enough for all of the pieces. I think we do. All right. Now I'm just going to take this little piece of plastic, and we're going to push out the epoxy to all the edges. Try to get it as even as possible. I don't want to have a sticky mess on my hands, so I'm not going to try to push it all over the edges. I don't need this to be perfect because it's not like a tabletop or anything. It's going to go on the wall, and I don't mind if it refracts the light or reflects the light in weird ways, because the glass is going to do that same effect anyway. So, and we'll do this over all of the boards. We have quite a bit of working time with this particular epoxy. Probably takes about a half an hour or so till it starts to become tacky and hard to move around with this little squeegee and a brush that I'm going to be using here. Brush helps kind of eliminate the surface tension and any bubbles. It kind of helps pop some of the bigger bubbles, and it also helps spread the material more evenly. Next, we're going to take my rework station, remove the nozzle from that. You can kind of see how hot this gets in there. Other substitutions for using this would be simply using a torch, but this is a little bit safer. And by heating up, you can see those bubbles just pop and disappear, leaving us with a glossy, clear finish over the surface there. So for the next bit, I'm just going to be using this method, going back and forth with this and maybe the brush to kind of help fill in and spread out the epoxy to the places that it hasn't yet touched yet. And I have to do all of that. But it's very... And now that we've got that done, I'm going to show you what it looks like on the wall. It's the next day, so it's been able to dry, and that's what it's going to look like. We'll move to putting up the lights here shortly. And I'll show you kind of the method I'm using to put them up. It's really simple, and I found it's the easiest bit. What I do is about every 4 or 5 inches at a time, I'm just going to take a little bit of hot glue, and I'm going to make sure that the lights are stuck up against the edge, and then I'll put a strip, wait for it to dry, and move to the next spot. This allows me to curve it around all the curves, and the hot glue clings to the wall and to the back of the strip real well, and it looks like that when I'm done. Let's see what it looks like when we turn on the lights. Very simple, very cost effective. You can see the little bit of extra light that I had there on top of the picture frame there. We'll get rid of that. There we go. Now we just have to do that on the other side. This is what it looks like at night. Pretty cool. Kind of glows. You can't really tell this, but the little pins that I have on the map, they actually glow kind of as if it was like a black light almost. Really cool. You see it changes colors as well. You kind of have it flash the different colors, and it also does more of a gradual transition between colors, as you can see right here. Yeah, these lights I got from IKEA. Here's another board. Let's draw the pattern on that and cut it out. This one's going to be a little bit more fun. I get a little bit more ambitious with this design. This one's going to come off from basically above the TV and work its way over across the top of that wall. All right. Here I put it back together, and this time I've been a little bit more smart. Here's what it'll look like after I've painted it. I'm going to spread out the glass, and you can tell that there's no tape on these. We've taken the tape and cut them down, and so they're not sticking to it. And I was smart because this time I decided to prop up the pieces. The epoxy that tended to roll over the edge while it was waiting for it to dry would stick to anything below it. So I'm putting down this plastic. Learned from my first experience what to do different this time. After mixing it together, let's go ahead and do the same process and spread it out. Try to get this as even as possible. I mixed a little bit more this time just to make sure I could kind of push it over the edge a little bit here, knowing that it didn't matter if it dripped. It definitely helped. Wish I would have done that the first time. You can kind of see here a little slow-mo of all those bubbles popping. Sorry for the flickering screen. It's amazing how deep the heat can kind of penetrate into the epoxy and pop those bubbles. More satisfying in real life. the camera doesn't do it justice. Even if I've zoomed in and slowed it down, it's still kind of hard to see. Alright, we'll do that over the entire surface. You can kind of get an idea of how glossy it's going to look when we're done. Here we go, look at that. Kind of gives it a 3D effect almost. Here I've got to put a couple pieces up on the wall. And here we've got all the pieces up now. And then it's time to do the lights on this side. There you go. I've got most of about 2/3 of the lights done. And there we go. Got all the lights up. And here we go. Let's see what it looks like at night. This was a fun project. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys liked the video. I like the way that this looks, especially at night from the outside. Gives me that cool effect, so thanks for watching.